Hello, everybody. Всем привет. Today, we're going to be talking about sound. So I have adjusted the sound levels of my recording equipment to capture what. Well, we're going to start playing some of the ambient sounds of the game, and this is well, this is the current state of the game right now. Is we loaded the castle build status and garrison. I've hacked the initial game state to just test that I was certain that certain values were being loaded correctly. So normally you don't start with dragons and phoenix and paladins, uh, but currently there's no sound on this game, this version of the game. So in the course of going through the process of reverse engineering, while I was reverse engineering the map, I found a map that, well, it visualizes to this. This is the actual hex data of what I called the sound effects overlay, and this is a visualization of it. For example, these orange tiles here are the windmill. These uh, yellow tiles are the sawmill. These brown tiles, I think, are mines. These greenish tiles, this here is a magic spell shrine where you learn a spell. This more tealish green is a luck fountain. And each of these, this is a shipwreck up here, a demon cave, and a lava vent. So there's a number of different sound effects that you can hear on the claw map. And what I had initially done is gone through, let's see here. I had gone through and mapped out which sounds corresponded to which values on this. Here it is. I had gone through and created a soundbite legend, literally going around in the game and finding what sounds were being played. That's how I figured out what that map even meant the first time. Let's see if we get the long intro or the short intro. Short intro today. Good. Start game, claw. So this is an example. If you hear this background, that background sound is right up here. There's a sawmill sound that's kind of subtle. If we go down closer, there's kind of a waves breaking sound here. So those were the sounds that we were looking at, and when I started reverse engineering this, I had to figure out the map format, but the very first thing I did was decode the AGG file, which was like a hero's sprite audio. It has all sorts of stuff in there. But inside that AGG file, there are a lot of sounds. So we have these attacked sounds. We have these loop sounds. We have movement. The move sounds, there's 28 of these. There's 28 creatures. So that's the creature movement sound. We have these pickup sounds. We have shoot sounds, which these are the shooting sounds that creatures make. We have the spell sounds that the spells make when you call them. The wince sound, which is the pain sound that a creature makes when it's attacked. And then we have these other ones, W sound. And I'm going to just play some different sounds for you that that might be interesting. That is the build sound in town. this is the windmill sound. Now these sounds are called loop because I think they just loop constantly. And I noticed that these sounds, which I had sort of manually figured out what sound I was hearing when I would travel to these spots on the map, and I had to go, I sampled all Heroes maps that I had, all 37 of them, and found out what tiles, what values appeared in this sound map. And then I visited maps manually with the game to like, and listened to figure out what the sounds were. And so that's how I built this map initially. And I came up with, you know, these hex codes on the map. I would go to that location on the map with the hero and listen and be like, yeah, okay, that sounds like a campfire crackling. You know, the mercury dripping in the refinery, which we can just play that one because initially I thought that was also a campfire. So mercury dripping is number 8. So let's play 08 here. It sounds like a campfire, but there's a drip effect versus the actual campfire, which I think is 10, right? That's the actual campfire sound. And let's see. Maybe it's 16. 16 is the sawmill. So that just loops all the time. When you're near the sawmill, you just hear the sawing sound. That's the demon cave. That's a very ominous sound. Let's go to, I think it was 4. That's an interesting one. This is the teleporters. The liths that you touch to teleport, they make this kind of humming sound, which is kind of cool. The shipwreck is there's this creak of the rigging of the ship, which is kind of fun. And, you know, there's a nice ocean buoy sound. And then there's one of my other favorite ones is actually the magic shrine. This is kind of a nice sound effect here. It's very, you know, what you would expect almost at a shrine in real life. So anyway, I figured out this sound byte map here, and initially while I was doing this, I went in and created a Python script to just play these quickly, just so I could dig in without, I mean, maybe I could just rename them PCM files, but I think there's like a slight header that just makes it a little bit more tricky to do that. So I just had a very quick Python script cooked up to do this, and most of it is just this method of parse the 82M files. But the thing to experiment with here is these sample rates. Like, I want to show you what happens if I do this a little differently. 22050. So that's 060. That's all right. 050. And what does this sound like if we play one with a different sample rate? So it's higher speed. Did you hear that? The sawmill is suddenly sawing much faster. There's a good one here. Fire's burning faster. Sound. So basically this speeds up the playback if you increase the sample rate. But I basically had to experiment. This could be 44,100, which is like typical compact disc sampling rates. 22050 is another typical rate, and that's actually what Heroes 2 and 3 use, supposedly, according to the AI that generated this for me, and using Heroes 2 and 3. likely rules. And that was actually what the AI default set. And I played that and I was like, well, it sounds familiar, but it's not quite right. And so I realized the sampling rate was just off. I played around with these files. So that was the initial step of figuring that out. So I also basically had to listen to each file and start mapping them to these. And it occurred to me after about the fifth one that looking at the file names of loop 00 was the ocean buoy, loop 001 was shipwreck, loop 002, which this was a little strange for me, is that's the whirlpool sound. Now that's not what I thought it was. I thought the whirlpool sound was actually this sound. But there's an additional folder of sounds that came with Windows 95, I think. And so I copied these from these were like either on the CD or they're installed afterward. So this is a whole nother set of sound effects. And so I have this whole map file where I have kind of made notes about what everything is. So this was the item background sounds. I should probably call this like looping. And then I have the resource item pickups. Like we can play one of those so you can kind of hear what that sounds like. So we have those sounds, and there's like 5 of them, and they seem to vary randomly. I was trying to be like, okay, which one's picking up an artifact, which one's picking up mercury, and they're actually like sort of randomly selected. Like I couldn't figure out a rhyme or reason to it exactly. These are just like standard pickup sounds. Like this one I think is the more higher pitched one. And I tried to do it over and over a couple times just to see if there was a pattern. There really wasn't. The game just kind of randomly picks one to create some variance because it doesn't. Maybe they thought it was annoying to have it always be the same like pickup sound or something like this. So these are movement sounds. That's just like some water stuff. But then we have the hero movement sounds. So they're all slightly different. So it's almost like having multiple frames of animation, but for sound. And that's how they make like the little galloping noises that as your hero walks around. The first one was I think water, right? Yeah. And then there's only like 6 or 7 of these, so I think they correspond to animation frames of the hero in certain situations. So you have water, and then it's, these sound mostly the same, but it might be like slightly different and for a different terrain. And again, water. So we have several different forms of this, and it could also be that it's these 3 frames, and it could be that these are on the different types of terrain. That's another, because we also have, I think, 7 different types of terrain, and so it could be that like lava is 4. So let's like see what 4 sounds like. So maybe 4 is lava and 2 is snow. So I don't know, 2 maybe sounds a little more crunchy to me, like they added a slight crunch of snow or something. What is 6 is maybe the desert. Doesn't sound too much different, and maybe 5 was the sand of the desert, and I thought 4 was lava. But anyway, so these are very likely the movement sounds based on the tile type. I thought they were maybe animation related, but I think I've changed that theory. This one should sound familiar. That's in there. There's also one that, you know, is good luck. You know, I feel like most people could infer what that means. Bad morale. We have the catapult sounds, different spell sounds. Let's just see what like spell 7 is, for example. Not sure. That sounds like a spell effect of well, it's probably not a good one. It might be a protect. No, I don't think it's protection, but I don't know. Anyway, I have to figure out what those mean. Let's see what move 7 is, just so you can hear what like a creature movement sounds like. Okay, I'm not even sure what that is. Let's see. 24 is a dragon. Oh, actually, no. 24 is rogue. 23, because it's 0 based. So that's the dragon flapping its wings. The hydra is probably 22. Yep, that sounds like a hydra to me. So anyway, we also have the attack sounds. We have the creature shooting sounds. So, you know, the druid is probably, I would say, the most distinctive of these sounds. So we can listen to this guy. Yep, that's the druid sound. You know, the wince sounds, you know, the classic would be just our friend, the peasant. Ah! Ouch. And then I mapped out the basic music of the different levels, these various jingles. I don't have these fully mapped out. You know, if you happen to know what some of them are, I would, oh, that's because we're in the wrong folder for that. I have 2 separate folders. One's for the AGG sounds that are automatically loaded, and then the other one, the external sound files, I have to actually source from a folder. So maybe this is a graveyard sound, maybe it's a Daemon Cave sound. I'm not sure. You know, we get the fairy ring luck jingle. I don't remember what 9 is. I've definitely heard it before. I just don't remember what that is. And I think that 14 is the angel statue morale, but I haven't played enough of the game recently to know these exactly off the top of my head. I know about half of them. Some of these structures are pretty rare. Like, what is 15 here? Is that a new week sound or a new month sound? I can't recognize it necessarily. 18 is a weird one. What is that? I don't know. Strange. 26 I also didn't recognize. And some of these could be like multiplayer sounds too. They could be something from that. 27. I think this is where you learn a spell from the spell shrine, I think. But I don't know. I have to review these, and a lot of these, notice, these are like event sounds, like you go somewhere and do something. Like I think 12 was the Dragon City, but again, I visit the Dragon City so seldom that I can't recall the sound exactly. So yeah, if you know what it is, let me know in the comments. And then, you know, some of these I really just had no idea. Like 18, that's the last one, I promise, and then we'll move on. Like, that's a downer. What does that mean though? What is that in the game? Okay, I know I said it was the last one, but this one's the real last one before we move on. So 16. I was struggling with that for a minute. I thought that might be part of the windmill sound, but that is the dimension door map, like the map spell sound for warping with the dimension door. That's what that is. So I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, anyway, I played through all the sounds, came up with some lists of things. I realized these loops were, I knew what these were based on the file name. So I came up with a mapping of this, mapping the values of the ambient sounds to these. And then it turns out I have this map. So I have this sound map here, which again, if we visualize that, it's this. So this shows the various sound locations. Now, when you're in the game, I'm just going to pull it up once more and demonstrate one more subtlety here, and then we're going to show you how we programmed it and then the final results. So when you're on one of these tiles, you definitely hear the sound there, but sometimes when you have the fog of war in the game, you can hear sounds. You can hear the sounds. Let's turn our music off. So I hear a little sound, even though I am a number of tiles away from this windmill. I can hear the sound. I go here. I don't hear it. I go here. Okay, I'm in the castle, but I hear it. Here, I get a little closer. It's a little stronger. A little stronger. It's the strongest when I'm on that tile. Or right next to it. This is actually, I think this is actually the sound tile here. Look at that. This map here. Oh, there's actually 4 of them. 4 sound tiles there. So it's basically those 4 tiles are very strong windmill sounds. Lord Kilburn. Let's do a new day. Thunder Mace, great. But we go up here. I start to hear the sawmill here, yep. Definitely hearing the sawmill. Strongly hearing the sawmill. Okay, that's cool. So we're getting some of these sound effects, and I'm going to show you one more. See the drip sound. Now you really hear the drip and the fire. Listen to that. And it's just looping. That's all. So basically, I have the map. I have the decoded, I know what is what on the map, and I have these the files that go in there. So I wrote up a little. I basically created this table. The AI didn't create this. I created this, and I passed it in to this. Okay, I created a version of this. I didn't know 21. I just called it this ambient wind sound. But I basically pasted it in with some of my sort of standard documentation things. And I was like, maybe we'll need to render it. Maybe, I'm not sure exactly what all we're going to need. We're going to need to load some of these sounds as resources because these sounds are in the heroes.agg file. So that's where they'll be loaded from. When the game starts up, it decodes that file. And I have this map parser that parses the sound map. It's these 5184 bytes with the tile map starting at this address. That's the beauty of knowing, of having reverse engineered the map format, is you can just say, here's where the info is, Mr. AI. Please use this. And it's a 72 by 72 tile map, column major, and then the ambient sound that plays when the hero is near that tile. 0xFF is no sound. But the ambient sound that plays when a hero is near that tile, that's what I'm saying. Each byte encodes that. Here's the list of the byte values that you could see. Here's the file, and here's like a human understandable note about what that is, an identifier that's human readable. I also reviewed the sound effects in the game. And so, and I did that to learn which 82M files to play when a hero is within 2 tiles of the tiles with the above sound map title ID. Now I just guessed here, but when the hero is on the title that plays the sound, they hear the sound at 80%. It sounds like the game has it a little bit muted. And then when they're on a neighboring tile, they hear the sound less at like 40%. And when they're on a neighboring tile that's 1 tile away from it, they hear it at 20%. And then when they're 2 tiles away, 10%. Beyond 3 tiles, it goes away. Sounds can overlap. You could hear 10% sawmill and 40% windmill, for example. And then I want to use an SDL library to play these files. Like I'm already using SDL for display and capturing other things. So this is just a standard library for playing sound. And so let me know which one I need to load. And then I want to load the files into resources, load the sound map from the map, and have a method to determine the volume based on the hero location relative to the sound map tiles that trigger the sounds. So we have to do some kind of computation as to like if you're here, you know, and you're close to the windmill, how much sound should you be hearing? Or if you're here, how much sound should you be hearing? So this is kind of the giving it some structure for how to develop this so that it's not just making up something, but giving it some suggestions for how to actually structure the logic here. The sounds are labeled loop, so it implies the sounds just loop over and over again while the hero is on a square that triggers the sound, at least at some volume level. And I give it the playback specs for these PCM audio samples that are in these 82M files. I give it a nice little Python script of how I was playing stuff back with these set values for the sample rate and the channels and the bit rate. And then I suggest, just again for structural stuff, we may need to create a sound.h function and a sound.md document to document how we're handling the sound. There will be music and event sounds, event triggered sounds later, but I want to integrate this with game main CPP right now and have the sounds loaded in resources CPP if that's a sensible place to do it. It turns out that resources CPP is not a sensible place to do it. I think it actually loads it in map CPP. So it goes through, makes some notes here, and yeah, so it's going to create the sound H, which processes the sound map, loads the sounds, loads the chunks of data from 82M, and then there's this ambient sound engine in the that's going to use this, I guess, 21 dedicated SDL mixer channels, 1 per sound ID. So I basically I can mix, I guess, 21 sounds. All 21 of those looped sounds can be mixed together. So we could literally hear them all at once. It would be kind of a challenge to design a map that would play every single sound. You'd have to be surrounded by all, like a sawmill and a wind. I don't know if it's possible, but it'd be fun to try, I guess. And then it does a 7x7 square for each hero step and sets the channel, or sets the sound volumes for that. Sound MD we have back over here where we documented some of this stuff. And then it gave me 3 patches. These were my maps and resources, and game main are actually pretty large files. And so it did, it created these relatively large files for this. And, you know, it's going to load in 2 steps where it's going to load the chunks and then bind them to the sound map, which I guess there's probably some smart engineering reason for that, but I didn't really care. And then if a file isn't found, it just doesn't play. So it gave me these values. It gave me like a patch file to tell me, to say like, oh, hey, you know, do this stuff here. And so I made these changes. Okay, it's taking a while to load. I hope my internet's working. It made these changes and then gave me these patch files here. So it said, okay, make this change in this file after this spot. It's nicer when the AI does it for you, but it's also, it uses a lot of tokens. And so sometimes it's, I guess, more cost effective for them to just dump this info to you and then make you do it. You know, I could use some of these Claude code extensions or something like that, but I don't like to do that because it can just go too far off the rails. It makes enough mistakes as it is. So I'm happier to just do it this way. Like I'm getting a lot of acceleration from using it. So anyway, I ask for some instructions. I'm using Windows 11 with VC package and Mac OS. And how do I update my CMake list? So it just gives me some quick instructions here. I ended up using this instruction. Here's my CMake file, all of that. I already do this anyway, so it's giving me some gotcha that I already do. So I'm just double checking something. I was a little unsure about the combination of, basically this is reading in the section 3 sound map from the map file. And I was like, is this right? Because it assumed some new variable names where, you know, before it was section 3 offset, section 3 size, and now suddenly it's sound map offset and sound map bytes. So anyway, it said, be sure you get your variable names right. Okay, great. Dumped in, I got a couple more make errors at some point, and it was because I didn't install this package correctly. I actually first installed, let's see, I first installed the Windows static thing, thinking that I would do, I was like self-contained exe, that's what I think I have, but no, actually I have the, I have this version where I'm just using the SDL2 mixer DLL file. It's not packaged inside the exe file. So it's not self-contained like that. So anyway, it gave me some advice about how to fix this. So I got a couple different things, and I said, oh, should I actually uninstall this and then reinstall this? And it said, yep. And then I got a whole bunch of weird compiler errors. So I looked through those, and I had double declared sound map here. Again, this, I didn't get the naming right. One of these were offsets, they should have been. And then the hero state needed to be loaded before the audio. So I put that in. Now it's all working. And I removed the disabled sound from the hero screen and the castle screen because I'm going to add in music later there. And then let's update the files. So this was the current version before this, and now I want to show you what the current build is. So turn up your volume here. We start out at the castle, and we can already hear something. What do you hear? Oops. I hear the windmill. Even though I haven't done the windmill animation yet, I hear it. Okay, let's go up here. What do we hear up here? Sawmill. Okay. Skipped fighting that guy, but that's the spell shrine. And that's the mine. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, clicking everywhere. Gotta work on my path stuff, and it should stop the hero from moving at at the end of the day. But here, do you hear the water sound? So this is that fountain. You'll probably hear the sawmill pretty soon. Yeah, there's a sawmill. And okay, fine, go this way. There's the Damon Cave, and this other sound here is the steam vent, which isn't animated. I can get up here to hear the shipwreck. You can hear the creaking a little bit of this shipwreck there as well. So that is that's the state. I got the sound working. Now I can add in music. I can add in things on the town screen. I can add in the faction music and stuff. But this was just a proof of concept to get the audio working on the game. And hey, it worked. So that was the process of getting audio working in Heroes of Might and Magic 1 rebuilding.